Now, a lot of business people who have really suffered over the last several months are trying to make plans to get open again desperately. What can we do by March or April? Presumably, some people will have the vaccine. Maybe this thing will be in the rearview mirror. Maybe if we're lucky, but that's not as easy as just turning the lock and opening the door, as a lot of businesses are finding out. Erik Gooch is the Vice President of Operations for Office Interiors of Virginia. You hear me talking about them on a regular basis, and I try not to have people that I do ads for come on the radio unless there's something really compelling to talk about, Erik. And it sounds to me like a lot of our audience, especially in this half hour, is facing this challenge. What do we do to safely reopen the office or to downsize the office? I mean, my boss told me in a conference call the other day that he's thinking about us never all being in the building together at the same time ever again. Are you hearing that from a lot of people?
Well, first off, good morning, John.
Good morning. Yeah, glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here. I've got to say that, we're seeing reports of upwards of almost 30% of the workforce not returning back to work, instead actually remote working. So the, whole dynamic of in-office working is changing. It really becomes a difficult thing because, you've had these Fortune 500 companies for years stuffing people into offices and creating open floor plans and utilizing office equipment and systems. And now you have millions of square feet that are just being unoccupied and unused. So companies are reaching out to people like us to, come in and find solutions for them, whether that means helping decommission spaces or to rearrange equipment and utilize new office systems to help social distancing.
So when you talk about decommissioning, what does that mean?
Well, that means responsibly taking down office equipment, things like cubicles, seats, desks.
And just clearing out.
Right, clearing things out. You wouldn't believe the amount of IT equipment and, how that needs to be responsibly disposed of. And a lot of these office systems are upwards of, 15, 20 years old in a lot of cases. So you need people that know not only how to just take a hammer and smash things apart, but to really take these systems apart and have that experience to, properly dispose of it.
Well, that was one of the things that was appealing to me when I first started talking to you guys, is that you try not to just fill the landfills with junk. It's a repurposing plan. I mean, is that still something in this, I don't want to call it a crisis situation, but in this situation where so many people are calling on you to decommission spaces, that you can still do?
Absolutely. Not only will we take and try to disassemble a lot of these items, but we'll take and store them in our warehouse or in various other warehouses that we have. It's important to realize that no one really understands, what the future holds with everything related to COVID. So who knows? Maybe the people do return back to the office. So we'll end up storing a lot of furniture and wall systems and prepare for companies to eventually find out how they're going to reconfigure their offices, or we can help them do that ourselves.
It's strange, Erik. For months, I've been trying to get some commercial real estate people to come on the show and talk about this issue, and everybody's turned me down. And I understand that. I don't know that if that was my industry, I'd want to come on and say it's collapsing around me. That might be an extreme word, but there's clearly a problem. I talk to my friends in New York and in Washington who say, hey, they're giving us, several $1,000s off of our residential real estate every month just to try to keep us in place because they're hemorrhaging money. And I can only imagine what that's like in the business world too. Hey, before we go, one of the other things that I think is a worry, and I see it at the radio station, I have been unscared. I go back to the radio station occasionally just to pick up my mail and pick up copies of new scripts and things. But it's eerie. It is like going back in a time machine. There are calendars that still say March 17th, March 18th, March 19th, 2020 that haven't been touched. Some people have not gone back since this started because they're very worried about catching COVID. What do businesses
Right.
do who need to, who decide we're not coming back, or this employee's not coming back, and I've got to get their stuff out of here, and the employee won't come
Well, I
won't
mean,
come themselves?
no, I mean, that's a great question. And, it's an important, discussion that needs to be had because, there is a lot of fear in regards to coming back to the workplace and even picking up your belongings. And that's something we also specialize in, is going in and securely retrieving people's personal belongings. And as we not only decommission office space, we box up and securely store personal items so that people can retrieve them at a safe and secure location later. And that's a whole process in itself. A lot of these larger companies are trying to figure this out as they go.
Yeah.
So,
Well, those are the
and
practical
it is.
issues that I think a lot of people are dealing with. I mean, it's not Chernobyl. Everybody needs, a reality check.
Right, right.
But it is something that's, in a practical sense, how do you get this stuff moved and make smart decisions about how to reopen? If folks go to your website, which is oi-va.com, you've got that report, How to Reopen My Office, that you can download and check out. It's Office Interiors of Virginia. I can see that they come on the show and I do a commercial for them. And normally I try to avoid this, but I felt like, based on my emails, there were a lot of business people in Richmond who were trying to figure out what to do. So this is a legitimate topic to talk about. Erik Gooch, the VP of Operations at Office Interiors of Virginia. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate being on here. Thank you so much.
Yep.